This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.
Welcome back to Women's Wealth Wednesday, aiming to provide financial advice for women in particular. And joining me today is Caleb Doane, the Vice President of Foster Financial. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning.
Okay, so we are on this really cool conversation that I would like to say it's just back to the basics, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So last time we talked about just financial planning and what the goal structure looks like. So what will we talk about today?
Yeah, today we'll talk a little bit about cash flow analysis. And so, when we think about a financial plan, there's a lot of different aspects to it. So last time we talked about some of those key objectives. A lot of times those are the expenses that we need to meet in retirement. Another piece of the financial plan is a cash flow analysis, which is really important, especially when we're looking to retirement, because oftentimes we're losing a big piece of our income, namely we're no longer working anymore in retirement. So it's important to kind of project that out and look at our income and expenses to see if we're able to meet everything there.
Okay, and so what is a financial plan if someone hasn't really heard of it in the way of planning out a cash flow?
Yeah. So a financial plan, I feel like it's kind of a blanket term, and everyone means something different by it.
Right.
We add a lot of things to our financial plan. So it's not just kind of giving you the thumbs up or the thumbs down for when you want to retire. It certainly is that, but it's also making a plan for the investments, looking at your cash flow analysis, talking about insurance, net worth, estate planning, all of these things into one. And I think a lot of people have maybe some aspects of a financial plan, but it's almost never written down. And as we all know, if we're not writing some of these plans down, it's a lot more difficult to follow these things. And so it's a big thing that we preach for a lot of our clients, and any new clients that come to us, we start by creating a holistic financial plan for them, getting to know them really well. We print out that financial plan and we give that to them, and that's kind of our roadmap going forward.
So what are some components that people should really consider when it comes to planning out that future cash flow? Because I think about, okay, well, if you're planning for the future, you're kind of analyzing what you're spending now, what you have in savings, what you possibly can pull from stocks and pension, but then you also need to project that you have to live daily life. That's kind of scary to think about. Live daily life without an income.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not only your normal recurring expenses, but you also have to factor in inflation every single year in there. You have to factor in some of those one-time expenses that come up, like a new vehicle or home improvement or moving houses. Medical expenses, possibility of nursing home. And so we build all of these expected expenses in for our clients. So we have those typical recurring expenses that happen every single year with your mortgage, travel, groceries, eating out. But then we have those one-time expenses built in, a new vehicle every 10 years or something like that. Home improvement every 5 years. Someone says they need a new roof in 10 years. And so we build that in as well. And that cash flow analysis shows every single year in retirement your income, which is typically Social Security, maybe pension, and the income from your investments. Shows all of your expenses, and then we see, are we in the red or are we in the black? If we're in the red, it means we need to pull a little bit from the investment accounts, and that's perfectly fine. And then we project this forward every single year in retirement, and we basically say, okay, is the nest egg that we built up sufficient to meet all of these recurring and one-time expenses?
Yeah, and it's so many there's so many different variables because it's like our life expectancy is different. So how do you plan? Are you planning for 10 years, 15 years? I want to live an extra 50, once you retire. So it's like, how long do you plan for? And is that a tedious process? Yeah,
even that we try to customize to the client too. By default, we have women living till 94 and we have men living till 92. And that's above the averages a little bit there. But of course, we would rather plan for somebody to live longer because if we're only planning on somebody living till 85 and they run out of money at 85 and then all of a sudden live till 90, we don't want to be surprised by that. And so we like to overestimate the length of time that somebody's going to live there. And the cash flow analysis can really give someone an estimate too of what their estate is going to be that they eventually pass down to their beneficiaries. So we can see kind of the value of that nest egg at the beginning of the year, how much we took out of it, flash that forward, all the way throughout retirement, and we say, hey, at the end, you're projected to leave about $1 million to the kids. And of course, there's different variables in there, but it at least gives people a good idea of what they're going to be passing down.
And you actually make a really good point, because sometimes people think like, I don't know how long I'm going to live, so is it necessary to save? Life's short. YOLO,
Right, yeah.
But the thing is, you have to make those plans, because life is unpredictable, and especially if you have kids and you have people that you can leave the funds to, so it's not going to go to waste if you save them. And so in your profession, as you work with so many different clients, do you see that most people have this type of financial plan, or that they need one?
Yeah, I mean, certainly people have aspects of it, and maybe they've, kind of thought, hey, I roughly want, $1 million at retirement.
Yeah.
But oftentimes even that is just kind of based on some best practice that they've heard. It's very rare for somebody to have a personalized, holistic financial plan. And so that's why we like to start with that for clients when they come in. We make sure it's tailored to them, it's written down, and then again, that's our roadmap going forward. And it just gives people that kind of clarity and confidence that they need for the financial plan. Everyone's on the same page, and we're pushing towards the same goals.
Okay, so it sounds like people have concepts to a plan.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But they need the actual plan with you all.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
So in order to take that concept and turn it into a real functional plan, you need to contact Foster Financial. They can help you step by step. We'll include their phone number below to give them a call, and I look forward to seeing you after the break.
This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.